Welcome back. Division preview number, I lost count, but we're on the NFC West this week, and we're going to be getting into our division preview, our full division preview for the NFC West right after you guys enjoy the music. Ready? 1, 2. Division previews are back, and along with it, we are back on the MJT Football channel. Again, this is our second annual division preview series that we've done, and we are moving on to the NFC. Just finished up the AFC, giving you our previews for every division in the league. But for the NFC West specifically, we just want to ask you guys, before we do anything else, comment your record predictions for the NFC West. We'll be responding to those comments and checking them out down below to see how you guys compare to what we end up predicting. We're doing it a little bit different. But I want to introduce my friends here, the J and the T. Joe, Tony, you guys ready for the NFC West?
Yeah, this is a good, fun division, and we are going to get either Geno Smith or Drew Lock starting week 1. And that, to me, is so exciting.
Oh, yeah. Jay feels the same way. Jay bolted, the big Seahawks fan.
What if they come out and they just ball? Like, it's just not enough tape on them or something, or
There's enough tape on both of them.
They just get touched by like a miracle, and oh man, week 1.
Well, we're all rooting for Seattle for week 1, right? Because they're playing the Broncos, so that'd be nice if they win that one.
A little revenge game for the Seahawks instead of Russell Wilson.
Our boy Tyrod Taylor last year for the Texans, they won and then they just lost for like 13 straight weeks or whatever. Like, there's always a surprise victory in week 1. Wouldn't it be great if Geno Smith was just out there like doing a Cam Newton impression or something? It would be.
You guys already know what I think about this division, because if you guys have been watching our fantasy football, you guys know I'm on the fade the Cardinals. Fade the Cardinals, Tony and Mike. Fade the Cardinals.
Well, we're going to get into all of our fades. For the NFC, we're changing it up just a little bit. So we're going to give you guys a guaranteed good thing that will happen for a team in this division, a guaranteed bad thing or something that could go wrong for a team in this division, and our pick for the breakout player that we will be talking about most next offseason in our division previews, which we will be back for. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like I was saying at the beginning. Anyways, should we get into this? Start off with the guaranteed good for the team that finished in first place last year and went all the way to the Super Bowl and won it all. The Los Angeles Rams. Tony, we'll let you start since you're next to me.
Okay, so this is how pre-production works. We didn't fully go over this. I don't want to go by team. I just wanted NFC West, and then we're saying whatever we want, right?
So talking about.
So not by team. So just whatever it is. And I could go many routes, but here's my guarantee from the NFC West in this season is that Allen Robinson is considered in the conversation for top 10 by the end of the season. Like, I think Allen Robinson is going to have such a year, and he's going to deliver on all of that promise that we did see with the Jaguars. And then he just got buried in a bad offense in Chicago for 2 years. You match Matthew Stafford and Allen Robinson on a collision course where he is the number 2 receiver. Allen Robinson is that is, you would have thought, oh, a team desperately needs him. They're going to get a number 1. No, bring him in there. The second option, the second focus in the offense. He might even be the third focus behind Cam Akers in that run game or who's ever back there. So Allen Robinson, talk about guaranteed being in that top 10 category.
I like it, Tony, because I think people forget how good Allen Robinson really is. And like you said, in that bad offense in Chicago, we all forgot about him. And it's easy to go Allen Robinson because we all think he's going to ball out. We all know that in this offense, he's going to be great. I like another guy in Los Angeles and Van Jefferson too. I like all the wide receivers down there, right? But I'm going to go with the breakout guy, and this is probably an easy one too. Trey Lance in San Francisco. I think he's going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback by the end of the year if he can get it going. He looked good in the preseason game. I think Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing. I'm revving my engines right now for it, Tony, because of how good Trey Lance is. And I think the 49ers are going to prove why they moved on from Jimmy G with Trey Lance. So that's my guarantee with this division, that Trey Lance shows that he is the future for the 49ers.
Yeah, I didn't crush the introduction of this concept. We are going to talk about each individual team at the end of the show, but I will tell you someone who is going to crush their introduction to their fan base and to the NFL, and it's Trey Lance. My guarantee good is also that Trey Lance is going to shine. I love this kid coming out of college. I will still to this day say that I think he should have went number 2 overall and should be a New York Jet. The only person that would have went over him would be Goldilocks Trevor Lawrence to the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you pop on Trevor Lawrence's tape, everyone always says, but it's North Dakota State. Carson Wentz played there, and Carson Wentz isn't really working out that well. This guy is different. He is not Carson Wentz. He is not any of the other guys that have played at South Dakota State that y'all try and compare him to. He is a monster in the run game. Like, already, in my opinion, elite in the run game as a mobile quarterback in the NFL. His passing game is coming around, and we're already seeing in the preseason that his pre-snap stuff and everything in between here, which is what he needed more than anything, was the mental reps. The actual physical, doing it at an NFL level against NFL competition. That's what he needed. And I believe that Mike Shanahan handpicked this guy and has developed this guy. And he is ready to hit the ground running this season. I think Trey Lance is going to be a baller. And by next season, we're going to be talking about this kid for the entire episode of the NFC West preview.
Love it. I can't disagree with you guys on that. I really like Trey Lance is in the perfect situation for success.
All right, let's move on to our guaranteed bad or guaranteed something that we think might go wrong for a team in the NFC West. Did I do better that time, Tommy?
You did. You crushed it. Cool. I thought you did. I thought you did an excellent job the first time because there are no mistakes here on MJT Football.
At all.
There's just learning opportunities.
Yeah. Anyways, guaranteed bad, Tony?
DJ Metcalf is going to regret signing that extension. At some point this season, we are going to see an exasperated DK Metcalf where he's not getting the ball in the right spots or the right time. They're losing. The wheels fall off, like organizationally, I think, but more so like DK is just like, I got to get out of here. Like, I want to be great. I can be great. I am big and strong and fast. And I'm just, unless they change it up. I mean, there were several games last year where Geno Smith was the quarterback and DK had 2 targets. Remember I texted you and I was so frustrated fantasy-wise. I go, I'll never entertain the new Megatron conversation with DK. This sucks. I was so upset. I think that same frustration will be felt by DK at some point. You know, holidays are coming and DK is like, man, I just want to go put out milk and cookies for Santa and find out who I'm getting traded to during the draft next year.
Jesus. No.
I'm going to continue my fade the Cardinals, and I'm going to go with we see an explosion down in Arizona in the way that they're coached and the way the players talk to their coach. And I think Cliff Kingsbury loses this team halfway through the season and goes in a spiral. And I hate saying that people lose their job, but I don't see Cliff Kingsbury making it through this season with the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, it just comes down to, do they improve or do they not improve? This team should keep improving with their young quarterback. But, I'm going to go with my guaranteed bad. I'm going back to Seattle where Tony was. Look, guys, I've dropped all of my hard feelings for Drew Lock. I am no longer a Drew Lock hater. I've removed my hatred in my heart for Drew Lock when he left my rival team. He's no longer going to be doing this backpack bullshit on my favorite team anymore. So I want to say, completely unbiased, I think Drew Lock's going to completely fail. He is going to completely fail in Seattle. Geno Smith's going to start more games than him this year is kind of the take that I have jotted down here. But I definitely do not think that Drew Lock is going to start the entire season. His problems are I'm still seeing him. He had a great game in his preseason game. At the very end of the game, he stands there for like 7 seconds and just takes it like an easy strip sack to lose the preseason game. He played the second half already. Geno Smith is already listed as the Seahawks starter. I don't think Drew Lock will start the entire season for the Seattle Seahawks. I actually think Geno Smith will start more games than him. But no hate. That's not a biased take anymore. You guys can't say that anymore in the comments. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and even in the preview when you showed our opening, it has your picture and it says Drew Lock is the GOAT.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be the USFL's GOAT.
he's already been anointed by Mike as the GOAT, so nothing of what he's saying is hate at this point.
Exactly. That is the bright side, though. He is super young. He can go play in one of these other leagues and be the star of those leagues because he has the big arm, but he just can't put the rest of it together, throwing off his back foot too much. All right, breakout player. I know we kind of already gave like our opinions, but maybe if there's more opinions on this, but breakout player. Let's go around the horn. Who's your guy, Tony?
I think I gave bad news to the Seahawks fans on one side of the ball. Now I'm going to go to the positive side. Seahawks lost Chris Carson. Unfortunate, was one of my favorite players, excuse me, to watch rush the football. So physical, aggressive style. Kenny Walker this year. We've already seen injuries cropping up with Rashad Penny, who is a capable back, but for some reason can't play enough games. Kenny Walker from MSU was probably my favorite running back in the draft. Like, I had him ahead of Breece Hall. Maybe it's also because I'm a Michigander and I was just a fan of his. But I think next summer, especially for people who play fantasy, we're all going to be talking about how good he played this last season. We're going to be, everybody, if you're a fan of the NFL, you'll be a fan of watching Kenneth Walker play football.
There's another rookie that's going to contribute towards that, Tony. I like Charles Cross a lot. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, and that Walker is one of my favorites, especially with Penny hurt already. I think he's going to get that. You know how Pete Carroll loves the feet in the ball. I like that. I like your pick, Tony. I'll second you again. Me and you are just agreeing with this division for some reason. One standout player that I think a lot of people don't know the name, but you're going to know the name by the end of the season, and that's Samuel Womack III from San Francisco, the nickel back there. I believe he already had 2 interceptions in the first preseason game. He's going to get his opportunity. He's going to start. We've been begging. If you're a 49er fan, you've been begging for secondary help. You finally got somebody, I think, in there that's going to help out just a little bit, and he's going to get his opportunity. So Samuel Womack the third, Tony.
Boom.
That's a great shout out. Because he actually had another one where he could have had a third pick. He just misangled. He undercut a route on an out route. That was an easy pick 6, and he just misangled with his hands. The ball just went right by his hands. But, man, this guy, he has some instincts. You can tell just from his little bit of action there, and they're buzzing about him in training camp as well. I'm staying in San Francisco for my breakout player, so we better see some high record predictions for these 49ers. I'm going with Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk's going to have a fine season working out the slot. He works outside sometimes too. A lot of these defenses that have to go against the 49ers now have seen a healthy Deebo Samuel and what he can do. We're going to start focusing our defense towards Deebo Samuel. It's already focused on George Kittle a little bit. Trey Lance is running the ball like a maniac this year out the backfield. I'm calling it right now. He has like an over-under of like 550 rushing yards. Smash the over right now. Well, with all that going on, a guy that gets lost in the shuffle is Brandon Ayuk. They're talking about him having a great training camp right now, and a lot of people are excited in San Francisco that Brandon Ayuk is going to break out into the talent that we saw his rookie year. We saw him flash some beautiful stuff his rookie year, and that one hurdle obviously sticks in everyone's head the most, but he balled out that year. He kind of had a down year last year. I think Brandon Ayuk breaks out, and we're going into next year, and we're talking about should the 49ers trade him, ride out the contract, and let him walk? What are we going to do? Because we just signed Deebo Samuel to a mega deal.
Ayuk!
I agree. I almost went that route too. I almost went the Ayuk route too. I like that one a lot. It's going to be very interesting when Ayuk wants money next summer.
I can't believe I'm giving praise to the 49ers. I can't do it. I can't believe it.
Once Jimmy G left, all of a sudden we're just like clear eyes. Yeah, go Niners.
So are we ready for this? We're ready for the thing that everybody came for right here.
Here's division predictions again. Drop y'all's in the comment section. Bam! Wow, Tony's really high on the 49ers, higher than even me and Joe. I'm
not playing around. Who wants to go first on this?
I'll go first. This Rams roster, I have them finishing first. They're loaded up again. They're doing what they need to do to maintain the superhumanness of it. You bring in Bobby Wagner. You bring in Allen Robinson. They made moves to replace guys that left on the O-line. If the chemistry is still there and this team is great without Robert Woods there like they were last year, Allen Robinson can just fill OBJ's role, which is not a huge role to fill. They're going to be a very similar team to last year. And I think in a weak NFC and in a division that I think the Cardinals are a little bit worse than last year with the D-Hop suspension, the Seahawks are a lot worse than last year with Russell Wilson being traded. I think the Rams are on path to win 12, 13, 14 games again. I have the 49ers second for all the reasons. that I was saying previously. I have high hopes for like 5 young players to break out this year on the 49ers. I think that defense is still stellar. Unfortunate news, I think Jimmy Ward's already injured, but everyone else in that defense is still stellar. They've been looking for that CB1. They brought in Tre'Davious Ward. Maybe Womack can be the guy that steps up and becomes that key guy for them in their secondary and in their cornerback room. And, of course, you don't have to talk about this defensive line. Nick Bosa, Arik Armstead, all these guys, they're beasts at rushing the passer. It comes down to how good is Trey Lance. I'm giving him a little bit of room here with a 10-win projection to maybe have some hiccups this year. But I think going into next year, 49ers are looking scary. Cardinals, I don't know what to call as the Cardinals. They have a ton of talent on the roster, but every year we see that. And every year they usually show that talent, and they win a string of games and then lose a string of games. But it's not a good look when they're putting study clauses in their contract for their young quarterback. So I kind of have my doubts about the Cardinals. I had them at 9-8, so that way that if they outshine what I'm thinking and they hit their ceiling of like 11, 12 wins, then I only lose out by 2 points. And if they freaking completely collapse, I only lose out by a couple points. And then Seattle, I think, is a team that seriously could be in the running for the first overall pick this year. I think we've talked about this behind the scenes. I don't know if we've talked about it on the air before, but I think, like you're talking with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jamal Adams, like the few stars that they still have there in Seattle, I think that they're in a situation where if they even tweak something small, they're sitting out. They're not trying to play. They're not trying to go out there and sell out for Geno Smith. They know what's going to happen this season. They're going to be a bad team, and they're going to have to draft a quarterback in the draft next year really high, and I think that's what's going to happen. Joe, you want to go next or Tony?
Joe.
You got it, Joe.
All right, I'll go. I don't care. What's up? I'm giving the 49ers 11 wins, but I'm still having them come in second place because they do have a rookie quarterback. He's still going to have to make those mistakes. He's not going to be 100%. I'm scared of that offense just a little bit because think about what they did with all the running backs last year, and now they have a running quarterback to go along with it. I'm liking that, but their defense still needs some help too. The Rams, I'm just going to give it to them because if you look at their schedule, it's pretty good, easy schedule for them. They have a little bit of question marks at running back. Henderson and Akers are both banged up right now at training camp. They got to see who they can get. They could probably – I'm going to guess if I'm going to have to go, I would say Ronald Jones ends up on this team at some time this season to be their running back. But the Rams, just too good. They're too good, too well coached to lose too many games. The Cardinals, I already said I see them exploding. They can still get 8 wins, but some of those come with an intern coach. Just to let you know if you know how that goes. And Seattle, they just don't get it done. They Pete Carroll can do whatever he wants, but the talent's not there in Seattle anymore.
Yeah, Seattle's going to be a very weird situation. As you can see, Joe and I both have them vying for that first pick. But I have the 49ers at the top of this division because they've been so close to being great with Jimmy G. I think the ability to kind of almost surprise the league with what he's going to want to do with Trey Lance is going to be to Kyle Shanahan's benefit. Now, at that same time, he also has to start being able to make those kind of reads that Mike was talking about, like advancing his abilities in the pre-snap set. I don't worry about the defensive backfield as much as long as the pass rush stays healthy because they're going to help things out there. So I really like the 49ers defense, and they added Ray McLeod, who I think is a huge upgrade for their special teams. He's a really good returner. He can be a depth piece at wide receiver if necessary. The Rams, I have a step back. I just have so many concerns. Too many people talking about retirement. Matthew Stafford's elbow is like, I know it's something he's been managing. The hangover of a Super Bowl, lots of kind of feeling yourself, a lot of teams going at the champs the way they are. So yes, they still make the playoffs. I just think there's a couple more losses baked in there. The Cardinals, I am so confused with the entire everything that's been going on there. From re-signing your coach and your GM, it seems like even a year early when they had that kind of flame out the way they had last year. Now we're looking at a situation where they tend to flame out at the end of the year, but they're starting it without DeAndre Hopkins, needing to build chemistry between Kyler and Hollywood, Rondell trying to take a next step. Can James Conner be, lead every down back? And then Seattle. This, Mike has been saying it a lot. Tank job that's happening there. It is going to go back to Pete Carroll, but there's no excitement of Russell Wilson, where it's that boring, we run the football a lot, not a lot of big plays over the top and stuff that we've come to know and love with Russell Wilson. And now we're looking at that with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. What was that game we watched? It was like 16-13 or whatever on Sunday Night Football, the Geno Smith game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty.
Geno Smith versus Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. We're all going to be going, hey, Bryce Callahan, Stroud, who are the Seahawks looking at quarterback? That's going to be a big topic of conversation come December for NFL fans.
That's what I was thinking too with the Seattle Seahawks this year. Like Pete Carroll is like 71 years old. And they, in my mind at least, started a full-blown rebuild by trading Russell Wilson, getting all those picks, and letting these other guys go. Bobby Wagner just gets cut. It's like, is Pete Carroll going into a full-blown rebuild, like committed, talking about maybe committed for 3 to 5 more years before this team can be competitive again for Super Bowls? Unless he is drooling over somebody next year. And he's okay with putting Geno Smith out there and having 3 wins because he's going to get that guy, and that guy's going to change this thing around a lot quicker than expected. I think that it would be Bryce Young, but C.J. Stroud is shining, and he's starting to get on the radar too. So maybe it's one of those 2 guys.
Can you guys just say it with me, Tony? Just say it with me. Fade the Cardinals. Fade the Cardinals. Come on.
I'm not with it completely. I got him at 9-8. It was a strategic play for the Cardinals there.
But missing the playoffs for the Cardinals, missing the playoffs is the downfall for them, right? If they don't make the playoffs this year, you can't keep Kingsbury anyways.
So I think there's 2 ways to miss the playoffs. There's a way the Chargers missed the playoffs last year, and you have hope. There's a way that the Colts missed the playoffs where they flame out and it looks bad, and all of a sudden you start having some panic or whatever, right? The Chargers losing in overtime in week 18 and like losing a lot of close divisional games and fighting is different than the way the Colts started that season and lost that season with Carson Wentz. And you start looking at it like, we have to go into a whole nother season with everything intact. Do we actually believe it could get better? So if they're getting blown out, that's a different 8-win, 7-win season than if they're losing a bunch of games just on field goals.
I think that does matter because Cliff Kingsbury was winning games with Colt McCoy last year. That was a feat that we got to applaud him for a little bit, at least. A little bit.
I don't necessarily think that he's like a terrible, horrible coach. There is something that is missing though, because it looks like every year they're here and then it plateaus and then it drops. It's like you can't do that. The good teams, they go up. They just the whole season. It's a trajectory ascending.
His offense isn't scaring anybody anymore. They're used to it. The NFL's used to it now. It's been a couple seasons. They all know what he's about. You have Kyler Murray calling plays in the 4th quarter of a preseason game. Come on, that's showing right there that you're like, oh, you think this is easy to call plays? You do it. Like you're already showing that there's a rift between the guy that you wanted number 1 overall. You picked him. You handpicked this guy to come in, and when you were the head coach, said we're taking Kyler Murray from number 1 overall, and now you're going to have issues with him a couple of years later. And Kyler Murray's going to win because he's the quarterback.
Yeah, or send Kyler to Miami. Mike McDaniels will appreciate Kyler.
Cliff is the kind of guy who gets a second job, whether it's warranted or not. I think he's a good talker. He's got the nice jawline, good hairline, like all those things. He goes, walks into a meeting, and the owners are like, "Oh yeah, he looks like a head coach. We want him here." I don't necessarily. I'm not. I like it.
Their roster isn't terrible either. It's not the best in the league, but they got guys like Isaiah Simmons. They got guys on the defensive side of the ball that have some promise. Byron Murphy, and they got guys on offense for sure. Zach Ertz is still there coming back. Kyler Murray, obviously. DeAndre Hopkins will be there with Hollywood Brown in the same receiver core. It's just something's there. And to me,
the Cardinals.
To me, I feel like it's leadership. It's got to be leadership. So maybe.
SZN.
What the? I accidentally clicked something when I was scrolling my screen. Anyways, that's probably a good time to call it.
It's
Tony,
like,
Tony the doctor's office or something there. We're gonna get out of here.
That's one of the subscribe plugs that I did.
Oh, should we play it?
yeah, we might as well play it now. People are like, what the hell was that?
SUB. It's crazy. The older I get, these eye charts just become impossible to. Oh, okay. Please read the chart. Back to the show.
That was gold. How have I not accidentally clicked any more of those? We're going to click some more of those in future episodes. Subscribe to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you like the video as well. That helps out a ton in the algorithm and getting this thing out to as many NFC West fans. I forgot what division we were in for a second there. NFC West fans. Feel free to share the link. Feel free to share the link directly to people's inboxes if you know any people that we may trigger with our predictions here today. Cardinals fans, Seahawks fans, maybe Rams fans with Tony's predictions. Send this video out to them. We appreciate you guys for tuning into this one. Anything else? Joe, Tony, any last
49er fans, I gave you some love. So there you go. That's it. You're not going to get a lot more from this. That's it.
I think Joe will still be rooting against the Niners. Tony?
No. Good luck, Kyler. Good luck.
Good luck to Kyler. See y'all in the next one.
Fade the Cardinals.